Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Chad back here with week number 14 NFL picks at BetHubb.com. I'm riding solo today as Emily's on vacation celebrating all of her earnings and winnings from a tremendous picks the last number of weeks. Well, I'm back here because, once again, I have a bit of a hiccup going 1-2 last week. We had Denver Broncos right side winner in the second half when they pulled away there. The under in the Seattle-Chicago game, you can't get a more devastating loss with the score 14-10 in the final minutes. You know the fireworks, the overtime touchdown that set the game over the total. Just terrible. And the Monday nighter, a bit of a bad read in terms of both teams stalling in the red zone, settling for a lot of field goals, turnovers. Not saying it could have got there, but it would have been a little bit more of an opportunity to get up and over that high total in the 50s if those teams were able to execute a little bit better. Nonetheless, we put that behind us. We get ready here as we enter the final month of regular season play. And I absolutely love the board this week. Something I can't say is being the case the last number of weeks is I've really had a tough time narrowing down just even the 3 picks for you guys here that I give out every single week. So let's start things off with my number 1 overall selection this week, and it is the San Francisco 49ers laying 10 points on their home field against the Miami Dolphins. Now, from a pure value standpoint, there isn't a tremendous amount in this selection here, as Miami has always been a feisty road underdog. As a matter of fact, they play better away from home than they do down in South Florida. But we all know what the San Francisco 49ers have done under Harbaugh the last couple of years off of losses. They've covered every game after the fact, and they've won every single game by double digits or more, and most importantly, they have allowed every single team under 10 points scored. Miami doesn't exactly have a vaunted offense that should be able to change that trend, and I cannot see them having any success here moving the football against the 49ers' stout defense. You know that when they have a bad game, that's the number 1 unit that's going to respond and absolutely shut down the opposition. And from a scheduling standpoint, it's been a very tough couple of weeks for the Miami Dolphins. They had that crazy comeback win against Seattle 2 weeks ago. They had to get up for that divisional rivalry game against the New England Patriots. Now they're forced to travel across the coast against a very angry San Francisco team who must be pissed after losing to St. Louis, especially in the fashion they did last week with that fumble and the missed field goal in overtime. They already tied them earlier in the year. I don't care who's a quarterback here, Kaepernick or Smith, they'll get it done enough. They'll be able to run the football and move it. Miami doesn't score over 10 points. They easily score 17, 20, 24, 30 points in this game. Take the San Francisco 49ers and ride the trend of them being perfect ATS with Jim Harbaugh following losses. My number 2 overall selection here this week will be a total coming from what should be a very exciting game, and that will be due to the offense and the high-flying quarterback styles of the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys. The total's sitting at around 45, 46 right now. I love this game to go over that. I thought this total would be released in the high 40s here with the offensive form these two teams are in. Dallas, you've seen what they've done the last couple of weeks. Last 3 weeks, getting up and over 30 points every single game. I was a little bit of a hiccup for Cincinnati offensively last week, only getting 20 points. San Diego's defense had been playing better last few weeks, and they did have to go on the road, but on their home field the last 3 games, they had scored over 30 points as well. It is a key game in terms of playoff positioning, so when it comes to that, generally you sometimes think it's going to be a bit more conservative and lower scoring, but the fact that these two teams are from different conferences oftentimes results in more points because they're not as familiar with each other. It's a little bit looser of a game, and when you look at the strengths of both teams, the quarterback position, throwing the ball downfield, Cincinnati leads the league in big plays of over 20 yards. No better secondary and defense than Dallas to allow that to happen. Tony Romo does not appear to be as prone to the bad turnovers right now. It looks like he's on more of a page with Dez Bryant. Miles Austin is being able to run a bit better with his hamstring injury. We see a beast Witness. And most importantly, they have a running game now with DeMarco Murray back, helping balance everything out. Cincinnati, they have a decent front four, but that can be negated with the running game. Their weaknesses in the secondary. Look for Dallas to exploit them. I can't really tell you guys who's going to win this game, but I say it's easily going to be a 27-24 type of ball game. Sit back and enjoy and watch the touchdown fest that you will see in that key playoff shall we say, matchup for them trying to get in both Dallas and Cincinnati. And my last pick here, the bronze selection, will be another key game for teams that are probably holding out the last glimmer of hope, and that is the Buffalo Bills at home taking on the St. Louis Rams. And they're just laying a very short price here around a field goal home, and I think this is too short and they're not getting enough respect. I understand that St. Louis has a better record at 5-6-1, but when you look at them, all their success from a point spread perspective has come from within the division. That has a lot to do with the fact that Jeff Fisher is a good coach and has become familiar with the styles of those teams in that division, watching a lot of game tape to prepare for those games. Maybe some of those teams take them lightly. Buffalo at this point at 5-7, they're taking nobody lightly. You would think if that was going to happen to me last week against Jacksonville, they absolutely pounded them. They had a rough start to the year. They were 1-4, and now they're at 5-7. So they played better the last number of weeks, 4-3 overall. And they probably could have won that game against Tennessee at home. Pretty much every single game they've had at home, they've had a chance to win straight up. And the only one they maybe got blown out against was New England. St. Louis ain't blown out anybody, and they have a tough time beating many teams on the road. I still think Buffalo is a far more talented team here. They have a much better running attack with C.J. Spiller and Jackson, who should be able to pop off some plays. Fitzpatrick isn't great, but when he's going up against someone like Bradford, they're somewhat comparable. And I just think that St. Louis, after an emotional win last week against their division rivals in San Francisco, having to go play up in a maybe colder environment outside of the dome in the winter time, I think that Buffalo is going to be able to score a little bit more and should be able to win this game by over a field goal. So those are my top picks this week. I absolutely love the San Francisco 49ers. I like a shootout in the Dallas-Cincinnati game, and I like Buffalo on their home field. A couple of other picks that I do lean towards. I like Houston getting more than a field goal if you can grab that against New England on that stud Monday nighter. I can't wait to see. I also like Kansas City grabbing nearly a touchdown against Cleveland, and there's no way Cleveland should be favored by a touchdown over anybody in the league, despite the fact they're playing well. They just don't win games by a margin. I'd also take a strong, long look at the over in the Carolina-Atlanta game as well. Guys, make sure to come back next week for Week 15 as we continue to provide you with many more winning picks. And of course, if you disagree with me, you have the opportunity to come and bet me. Check out the link below, BetHubb.com. Sign up for your own account. If you already have one, that's even better. That means you're aware of the fact that you could be cashing on some of our outstanding bonuses right now. You can challenge your friends, set your own lines, do some trash talking. Just get really engaged in the social, community aspect of things here when it comes to betting on sports at BetHubb.com.